All right, good day. This is Francis de VRIES. Yet to have a cool nickname, but hopefully we'll come up with one in this podcast on the Unused Subs.
Part-time footballer, full-time magician.
Part-time postman.
Grinding through the week and then Terminator on the weekend, mate, you reckon?
Where's this Terminator coming from?
It came from G, yeah.
No, it came from Logan Rogerson.
Oh, okay, there you
Because we were talking to him about Auckland FC players and the rigs on everybody. And even though Logan is like ripped to shreds, he was saying that you look like the Terminator.
Yeah, the transparent Terminator. Should we go with that?
Transparent? Translucent?
I feel that. I feel seen now. Yeah. I'm the same as you, man.
What, you guys, you don't tan too well?
No, I mean, I turned up to pre-season for the Phoenix, and Ricky Herbert said, you've reminded me I've got to buy some milk later on.
Or some sunscreen. Because you would have played a lot of football, right, but in the wintertime, and then you play for Auckland FC. It's a summertime event.
Yeah.
You've got strawberry blonde hair, fair skin. Do you have some kind of sunscreen deal going on, or?
I wish, mate.
How do you fare in Adelaide in the height of summer, or Perth, or Brisbane, man?
35-degree temperatures and drinks breaks at quarter time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that something that you've got to think about?
Yeah, like when I go and check out the field pre-game, you're looking, there's the shade. I'd love to be there.
So you're running up and down the sideline in the shadow of the stadium.
Saying to Hiroki, please, Hiroki, go this way in the first half.
I was going to say, looking at the arc of the sun, which stand's going to be in the shade?
You need a good sunscreen, though, because you don't want it running down into your eyes, and then all of a sudden your ability to play has been impacted. You can't see. Your vision impaired.
See, I never put it on my forehead. It was always ears and underneath, for that exact reason. Because as soon as it gets down into the eyes, you're gone.
So no forehead sunscreen.
No forehead sunscreen.
You're a goalkeeper. You wear a hat.
Why? No. Yeah, that's a misnomer. We'll get to that in another episode. But that's a 15-minute long rant that you'll get out of me at some point.
Gosh, okay, all right. Well, maybe that's an Unused Subs special on the DVD at Christmas time.
DVD. Mate, the thing I love about chatting to you is you're so kind of deep thinking about this and prepared. But you've had the first season. On reflection, what are the kind of 2 or 3 things that you've learnt from this season? Doesn't need to be yourself or the team or the city, but what are the kind of the 3 things that stand out for you for the season that's just happened for Auckland FC?
Great question. I think the first one is...
We ask good questions here.
Yeah, well, you ask good questions and I just have a little bit of fun.
I think the first one's definitely that Auckland was ready for a professional team.
Weren't we?
Yeah.
Weren't we?
You saw
trying
the support,
to convince people of that, though, that it was coming, mate, is
Yeah.
another thing. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it's just awesome. Every weekend, you guys were there, and I think we all felt the atmosphere of how much energy there was, and it was great that it was a game for everybody, you know. There was the Port, which were bouncing, kind of more hardcore fans, and then there were the family sections, and, you know, people coming from different parts of New Zealand, so it was really good.
And seeing that kind of support and with the Port singing their songs and singing about you as well, having grown up in this country, how strange was it to see that kind of support? I mean, we've all turned up to football games before, but outside of the Wellington Phoenix and the Yellow Fever, you kind of just sit there quietly and applaud the really good moments. Oh, that was a nice goal. Congratulations, yay.
Yeah.
But to have that level
It was
of
unapologetically outward bound, right?
Yeah, to have that kind of enthusiasm for a football team that you're a part of, how did that sit with you?
Amazing. I mean, to put it into context, when I was getting really into football, 12, 13, 14, there used to be the National League. You probably played in it. Auckland City, Canterbury United Dragons.
That was condescending, but we'll move past that.
I played in it too. We're mates. Like, I just remember like biking to English Park from my house, and there'd be like 150 people there. I remember distinctly yelling against Auckland, put it keeper's side on the free kick.
I think there was a goal. I think we conceded there. Doesn't know what he's doing.
I think the support at the local level in Auckland's quite good. You see most Northern League clubs, at least when I played at that level, would get like there'd be people around the whole side of the field, but obviously no stands and no atmosphere. But there was always the interest, so it was really cool to see Auckland as a club tap into that and kind of bring everybody together in one place.
So Auckland's cranking, and you are cooking as well. You quickly became a fan favourite with that magical left peg of yours. I want to know, what kind of extras do you put in with your delivery? Because I think it was Dan Hall who, gosh, I'm going to go back and realise it was somebody else, who said that you wanted a point of difference. You wanted to stand out from the crowd so that a football coach or a selector will go, that guy's got an incredible, he's got something different. And your something different is outstanding delivery from dead ball situations or from swinging it in from the sideline. So what kind of work outside of regular training have you been doing over the last few years to make that left foot something lethal?
I think it started a lot earlier than that. Like, maybe you're familiar with my story, maybe you're not, but I wasn't really in the selection for academies when I was going through my teenage years. So, often...
Like regional academies?
Yeah, I think it was FTC when we were younger. But basically, like, I wasn't always part of those training groups, so I had a lot more time to train by myself. And because I had these goals of making it somewhere in football, then I went to the park and I started to figure stuff out for myself. And one of the easiest things to do is just to strike a ball over and over and over again when you're at the park. And I found I really enjoyed it. And then as I continued to train like that, I figured out my technique and I figured out, okay, I'm going to take these crosses and corners and stuff from different areas and I'm going to do them at speed and I'm going to do them in game realistic situations. And then I think it was when I was 15, I got selected for one of the academy teams, and a couple of years ago, coach had said, like, as a left back, you're not really, delivery's not very good and so on. And then a couple of years later, they basically selected me because in the trials I did a couple of good corners. And then I realized, like, this could be something that makes you outstanding. And yeah, since I'm not fast or skillful, I have to be good at something.
So you've got this left foot ability, and what you've just talked about there, in my mind, defines the same player and the person that you are now, because we'll get into it in a bit, your stuff off the field, but it's very much also what's happening on the field. It's that mentality and that work rate. Where does that come from?
All right. This is the good stuff, yeah? This is
Mate,
where the real stuff happens, yeah.
Hey, good question number 2.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is...
It's 2-0, actually. Yeah, you've asked 2 good questions, and I'm yet to have one.
Don't worry, he's used to picking the ball out of his own.
Mate, he's only given me 1 moment for the season. I asked for 3, so we're coming back for those other 2 at some point as well. But let's get on to the work rate, the mentality, because I think, for me, considering the season, but it probably starts when we really started talking a couple of seasons ago when you were rehabbing your injury. I imagine it starts a lot longer before that. And I met your mum and dad in the last window when they were up here for the All Whites games, and I got an understanding of who you are now because of that.
Yeah, it definitely started with them, My dad was the man who got me into football, being Dutch. It was not a choice when I was younger, but
good.
It was always in a good way, It was like, do you want to go and play in the backyard? Like, he coached my youth teams. I think it's super important to have someone like that in your life, like that early on. And my mum was like so supportive, driving me to all the trainings, always being really uplifting. Like when I missed out on a team or when I thought I wasn't good enough, it was the right kind of support to keep me going. So that was great. And then I guess I internalized that through them, and then started learning about psychology when I was in my teenage years, just randomly, like found a book at the library and started to learn about these things like motivation and confidence and resilience, and got interested. And I noticed that there was like a direct effect on my performance.
You could be intentional about it, right? If you start learning about it and then you take that into the game. That's interesting, mate.
Because like as a teenager, it's real easy to be nervous or compare yourself with others. So these are the things that kind of like knock you back. And when I started learning about that stuff, I realized straight away, like I could kind of change the way that I was thinking, and it changed the way that I felt about myself and the way that I acted when I was on the field and off it. So that kind of built from there,
Can I pause just there? So, because, I mean, I'm a bit of a confidence player, so when I'm good, like I can appear kind of taller, but when I'm not good, I can also shrink. So was that the same for you? Because what you've said there is you've had a couple of knockbacks when you were younger. So were you kind of used to being on the back foot, and this was a way to give you a toolkit to deal with those moments on the field?
For sure. I think that's definitely something that kind of makes you interested in it to start off with. You feel like you have a need for it. But what more stood out to me was that it was just really interesting. Like to...
Curiosity.
Yeah, to understand more about yourself and not just as a football player, but the kind of reasons why you're motivated off the field too was really cool. And once you have those really strong reasons and you have kind of a goal-setting plan in place, that's where the drive and the motivation comes from, because you can follow through on your thoughts with actions.
So let's talk about...
You've confused him here.
No. Let's talk about some of the moments where you needed that the most, where you needed to tap into what you've learnt about being resilient. I remember seeing an interview where you spoke of you had a trial, it may have been in Sweden, and you're staying at a hostel, which is less than ideal conditions, right, to go into a trial the next day. So tell us a little bit about some of those more trying circumstances where you're attempting to make something of yourself as a footballer, but what's going on off-field is less than ideal.
Yeah, it was fun sharing the dorm room with 11 drunk European tourists. It was a good match day -1 prep. Yeah.
And so they weren't turning up to the trial the next day, I'm assuming, eh?
Name names, by the way. Was it Germans or who?
I don't know, mate. I was in bed minding my own business.
So where are you, mate? Are you in Stockholm?
I'm in Denmark. So
right.
Copenhagen and then Aalborg after that. But you're right. It's funny what keeps you going in those moments, you know? Like when I went over to Europe, the context was that I had done 4 years of college football or soccer in America. I got my degree. I'd played 1 year professional at Vancouver. That had gone quite poorly. Like I'd started off quite well, and then we talk about these things about confidence and resilience, and I got injured, and I lost a lot of that. So I came back to New Zealand and wasn't sure where my football was going, and it was quite hard to take because as a teenager you build yourself up, you know, 10 years of training for what you think is something, an ideal, you know, and it's totally different when you get there.
Yeah.
So then, you know, learning that in the first season was tough, but those lessons kind of stuck with me in terms of what I could improve on. And after I played a season in National League, some of the guys at Canterbury were great. I got my love for football up and running again and was playing for the right reasons. And then when I went to Europe, it was really last chance, you know, like I thought, I'll go on some trials, and if I don't make it, my brother's studying there, so me and him will go have a OE in Europe, and then I'll see what I do with my life after that.
Make like those 11 backpackers, eh, and just go crazy.
Just join them.
That could have been me.
You're in the right spot, mate.
Yeah.
But I mean, you must be so close there, because what you're saying is like you've got this alternate that you can step into, which is literally right in that dorm room with you. Like they're going around having a good time drinking, but you have chosen to go and forge yourself in the cauldron of professional football, and doing so after multiple rejections. Because I don't think people appreciate this. It's not like it's one or two and you get a job. Like when you get a job, you get 1 or 2 rejections and you get your third one's a job. Like it can literally be 40, 50 times that you have to put yourself out there, be the best possible version of yourself that you can be, and then get told no or not yet, or maybe not quite right fit for us.
Yeah, correct. And you learn pretty quick that there's no guarantees in football. In part, that's why I hope you see me playing with enjoyment now, because you have a lot of gratitude, because you know, all of this, what could have happened, and it could have gone in a different direction. So I remember being at Vanamo on trial, and this was actually my last trial in Sweden. Like I didn't have anything lined up after that. And halfway through the week, Jose Figueroa, who was at Team Wellington at the time, asked if I wanted to come back and play for Team Wellington, and they were going to the Club World Cup. And so it was like a pretty good offer. And I was thinking to myself, like, I had to tell him in the middle of the week, yes or no. And Vanamo weren't going to decide till the end of the week if I was going to get signed or not. So that's when we talk about no guarantees. And I thought, like, this is my last chance with Europe. Why not see it through? And it was a really hard decision to make, because you're choosing uncertainty, and you're choosing, I might not have someone to live on Monday, like, what am I going to do? And in those moments, when you make those choices and it comes right for you, then you really build that self-belief in yourself, because at the end of the week, Vanamo did decide to sign me. And the crazy thing actually was that they had decided there was a game on the weekend. So they had decided already before the game that they were going to sign me, and had called my agent and told my agent, oh, we're going to sign him. But my agent had not called me, because he wanted the club to tell me directly.
Oh.
So I'm going into this game, right, thinking, oh, this is my, like, I have to perform really well, like everything's on the line, and Mate, this field is crazy, eh? It's like it's January in Sweden, snowing.
But go on, paint the picture, because
Yeah.
I mean we're in Auckland in June at the
Yeah.
moment, so this is like our winter. It's
Probably
beautiful.
ideal Francis conditions,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah,
with
well,
the strawberry blonde hair and the
Oh,
fair
no,
complexion.
yeah.
No, well, I'm thinking snow. You know, the reflection off that. That's the same as being in summer, man. That is, but where is Vanamo for a start?
It's in the middle of Sweden, so halfway between Malmo and Stockholm, the two major
You're
cities.
not quite close Arctic Circle, but you're not far off either. Is that the kind of vibe?
Yeah. Like winter, the sun comes up 9:30, sets at 2:30.
Oh,
Brutal.
Yeah.
Wow, that sucks.
So snow everywhere. Temperatures what?
For this game, it was above 0, which is good for that time of year.
Such positivity.
Yay, it's above 0.
And by the way, you've not always been a left back, right? So are you playing
Playing centre back,
centre back
which
at this
was
point?
very good in this game because I remember the outside parts of the field were frozen. So only the middle was like playable for football. So it was really cool actually.
Your wide men are in
Just
wearing
on
ice skates.
Just passing in front, deal with it, mate. Yeah, right, yeah.
It's sort of like a football ice hockey hybrid you're playing.
But this is the game you prove yourself and you crack on with it from there.
Well, yeah, like after the game, I remember the sports director pulls me out of the changing room and kind of in broken English goes, "Oh, congratulations, like we're going to sign you," you know. And I just remember my heartbeat being so fast, you know, because I didn't know what he was going to say. Yeah.
Well, let's pause there, mate. So you know the conversation's coming, right? Like, because you're having the game. This is the end of your trial period.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation a lot. You get pulled out of a changing room, right? Like, you kind of just get someone puts
Yeah,
their head in,
exactly.
points at you, and then you have to walk out. Like, what are the emotions heading out of the changing room? Because this is the before still.
Yeah, because you have nothing, right? So it's like when you're going to ask someone out on a date, not that I've done that we'll get into that, not that I've done that for 6 years, but...
Well, people
how
usually
nervous
approach
you
you,
are.
do they?
Oh, okay.
I don't know, I wish. But, you're like, you get that like proper
The chest is...
loud heartbeat,
yes.
you're like a bit like tingly and flushed and you're just trying to
Not
concentrate.
quite walking properly, right? Like, you're trying to stay up and right.
Yeah. So yeah, they signed me, for 2 years, which was a massive show of faith from them. And then
Whereabouts are they in the...
third division.
They're third division
So-
in Sweden.
Yeah, so we're still talking semi-pro, like I'm not earning much. I was working on the side in a factory.
What's in the factory?
It was kind of a rite of tradition in Vanamo because like a lot of players had worked in this factory that had gone on, like big players, Victor Claesson, Salmon, guys who had played Swedish national team, but when they were just out of high school, Vanamo was their first club, they had worked there. So the club had a connection with these guys.
Yeah.
So anyone who needed part-time work kind of got offered, do you want to go and work here? And it was just manual labor, like
You're assembling furniture, I take it.
close, yeah. I wish I would have
flat
learned
pack.
something
It's
useful.
like, yeah,
yeah.
I
But
hear
it's
a joke
flat
for everyone
pack.
now.
It's not assembling furniture. You put it in the flat pack.
You're not creating dreams, you're giving nightmares, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm the person that when you're like cursing your IKEA thing. Yeah.
Just think Francis de Vries, is that what you...
I'm missing a bloody
Put in the
an
wrong
Allen
screws
key.
in the wrong.
Francis de Vries, no!
Says there should be 7 bolts, mate. So you're working alongside that, and then Vanamo... So you're working in the factory alongside football, and then Vanamo starts taking small steps in the right direction.
Yeah. Like the first season, I think we finished mid-table. The second season, we won the third division, which I don't think people appreciate how difficult that is to do in Europe. To put it in context, there's 16 teams in our division, 16 teams in the other division because it's split in 2, and only 1 team gets promoted.
So there's,
Oh, wow.
there's 2 third divisions.
Yes, north and south. yeah.
Exactly. So 32 teams
Yeah.
split into 2
Yeah.
groups of 16.
Yeah.
And this is the thing people don't appreciate, G. It's the third division. It's the last professional or semi-professional tier. So it's the last stop for a lot of guys. It might be their last contract. It's the one thing that's keeping them from going and getting a real job and facing the real world. Or for people like Francis, it's their first opportunity. So it is desperate at times, right? And then like the last 10 minutes of every game is a bar fight, I imagine at times.
Yeah. It's you go to some proper random places as well, because it's mostly in the small towns, and then some places are like real passionate supporters. Some places there's no one there, so it's like a different challenge every week. And you're right, it comes to the last 10 minutes of the game and teams are just chucking everything at each other. So it was
Oil fin heaters.
yeah.
It's not Ollie Sale. Did he spend some time in Sweden as well? Am I correct in saying that you were promoted a couple of times,
Yep.
right? So what was the level of financial security like then? You know, you start off with Vanamo and you're having to work in the factory. When you get the double promotion, are you saying, bye-bye factory, no more flat pack for me? And you're basically a professional footballer at that point?
He gets to buy a Volvo. He stops making parts of them, he gets to buy a Volvo.
He gets
wish,
given
mate,
one.
I wish.
He gets given the car.
Yeah, no, keep
Mate,
going.
I'll tell you about the car I bought when I came back to New Zealand. That'll be a funny story.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll finish the Vanamo track for now. When we go up to the second division, that league's weird because like half the teams are fully professional and half the teams are half-half. So for us at least, we're still operating on a really small budget.
Is that because you've got teams that have come down from the top flight and other teams that have come up? So there's that sort of disparity.
Yeah. So like there'll be a team like Helsingborg, for example, who are a massive club in Sweden. They get 5,000 to 10,000 every game. And then there'll be...
That's Declan Edge's team, is that right? Helsingborg?
Nah, that's the team in Denmark across.
Oh my God.
They,
Okay,
they
yeah,
sound the
cool,
same though.
cool.
Yeah.
You were
Thank
doing
you.
so well.
I know, thank you.
Yeah, you were asking great questions.
I'll concede that, yeah,
Your knowledge of Sweden geography was exceptional, and then
I said IKEA properly as well. I was doing really well.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate, keep going.
So yeah, you get a mixed bag there. For Vanamo, we were definitely on the semi-professional side. So I remember the season finished with when we got promoted, and it's the end of season meeting. You know, you're in there with the sports chef and all this stuff, and they're talking about next year. And I asked them, you know, can I get some help from the club to get a new job, because I don't want to work in the factory anymore. Like, I don't mind working, but I'd like to do something a little bit more constructive with my time. And I remember it being like misinterpreted towards like that I was like asking for a really big contract. And then like there was a fair bit of stress. That month was really stressful because they had like kind of gone down the track of, oh, like, we don't want to sign you anymore if you're going to make all these demands and da. So it was like, even then it was like, you know, I was thinking, oh shit, you know, like.
Are these conversations in Swedish or English?
Yeah.
They were in English. So and then they were signing players in my position, and I was like, oh, what? Because they got a new coach in, and I was like, what's going on? And then like 3 days before preseason, I think my boss at my work knew the head of the club, and I think called him and was like, look, you need to have a chat with Francis. It's just been a misunderstanding, you know.
Oh, thank God.
So I go and meet this guy, and he basically says like, look, here's what we're willing to offer you, and it was like a very small upgrade on what I was earning in the third division. So I was like, okay, I'm still fully semi-pro this year.
Yeah.
So I got a new job that the club didn't help me with, but it was okay. Like, I ended up working in a gym, doing group training classes.
That's how you got massive, right?
Like,
Became
Logan,
the Terminator. Ask Logan Rogerson.
Yeah.
Eh?
No, it was
I
great.
heard you're
It
in
was
charge
cool.
of aquatic aerobics, mate. You're out there with the floaties on.
Nah, I wish. That would have been cool. But I did do like the, you know, like the 70+ classes.
Oh,
So like Tuesday, Thursday morning, we had like a group of like 15 to 20 like pensioners would come in.
You've just roped off an area in the pool.
No,
Nice and shallow,
no
or-
pool. Just,
No pool.
No, he didn't have that certification, mate.
You're
So
not allowed
really,
to.
God, what are they doing? This is brilliant.
This is like, it was like mobility, some strength exercises, some different movements, like some cardio stuff. It was really fun, you know. Like, it was honestly, it was a social catch up for them. So it was like, I'd go in and have coffee with them before, and then we'd do like our class
That's
for
awesome.
40 minutes, and then we'd just have a good chat afterwards and take off. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I'm almost 40. I need that now, I think.
Well, here he is. He's a coach in his spare time, so maybe he could coach you back to fitness.
We're only at Div 2. So Div 2,
Yeah.
and then you go into the Premier
Yeah.
League. Is that one season to get promoted? Or is it?
Yeah. So everyone obviously thought we were going to come last and get relegated, and we lost our first game. And then I remember everyone thinking, oh, how many points do we need to avoid relegation? You know, like, we're trying to work it out. And then halfway through the season, we've already got those points, and we're on this massive winning run. And after, I was actually on the bench to start the year, and then after 3 games, we got really lucky because it was the time when it was COVID, and the guy who was playing in front of me tested positive for COVID on one of those self-tests, and then went and tested at the doctor's office and was negative, but it was too late to get him registered for the game. So then I got my opportunity to play, and then we won 3-0. I played well, and
you stayed in the team.
Kept me in the team, yeah.
Wow. So
yeah.
you're probably one of the only people in the world that are saying, thank goodness for COVID.
Oh, I'll tell you another story later if you want that. Went back down the other side.
Oh,
really?
But yeah, at that moment, you know, like, I mean, you still got to earn it when you get on the field, but that was the way I got in, which was kind of cool. And then, do you know Joel Stevens?
Yes.
Yeah, he was playing in front of me at left midfield, so we had a Kiwi left side going on, which was pretty cool. And
decent pace in that left-hand side, mate. Pace and
from
power.
him.
Oh, yeah.
I
Well,
just kick it down the line and go on, mate.
Whip it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we get promoted. Massive story in the club's history. You know, they've never done this before. We did like this open bus parade through the town, which was funny because there's only one main street. So like
in the cold.
You were doing manies.
yeah, up and down. Everyone was hungover. You know, like it was.
Was there like a roundabout at the end? Did you just sort of go around and back up?
Down the street?
We just went one loop. You know, I think a few of the boys were battling to hang on. You know, so so yeah, we get promoted to the top league, and now it's like fully professional. And of course, there's teams in there with massive budgets, but we're coming up. So, you know, you're on a pro deal, but you're a normal working class person, you know. You ain't earning anything more than what a normal parent would earn here in New Zealand.
Because we want to explain to the audience how professional football works. So this is a great time to jump into one of the important parts. So do you then automatically click on to a minimum contract, for example, a minimum full-time contract in Sweden when you get promoted into the Premier League?
Some leagues have this, but Sweden didn't. So it was just up to the club's discretion of, this is how much we think you're worth. Take it or leave it, basically.
But that was to pay you on a full-time basis.
Yeah, so this season, I stopped working outside of football. Towards the end of the second division, I probably could have done it too, because there were like bonuses and stuff in my contract that start to get activated as you play a certain amount of games or you win a certain amount of games. But I was enjoying my work outside of football, so I kept that going. But then this season, when we're in the top league, was only football, and it was good because the training schedule was crazy. Like, we'd do 2 double days each week and long video sessions, you know, like 40, 45 minutes. So your day's just gone with being at the club. At least 2 of the days, then you got 1 day off, and then it's obviously preparing for the game. So it's pretty full on.
As you're climbing the Swedish football pyramid, are there more eyeballs on your social media accounts? Because Spoon and I, we were having a chat. Like, you've got an Instagram account that's got like 45,000 followers on it.
You want to know this story?
But you're not using it, right?
Yeah.
Like I think the last post was from 2019 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of people, including us here at the Unused Subs, we would kill someone for that kind of following, because then we could actually afford to do this properly. What's going on with your Instagram handle?
So the story starts in America, where I was the person who had a flip phone all through college. So when I got out of college, got my first iPhone, had an agent over there, was, you know, America's massive, like, build your personal brand, all this stuff. Like, I was pretty resistant to it, but I got an Instagram, and then the agency that I was with got it verified, but I didn't have 2-factor authentication on.
Oh, no.
So someone hacked it.
Oh.
So I'm in Sweden by now, so someone's hacked my Instagram, which, by the way, had like 500 followers. Like, it was nothing massive. And then, so my Instagram gets hacked. I messaged my agent, and I was like, hey, mate, can you help me out with this at all? And he's like, yep, sure. And their team got it back for me in a week. But when I got it back, it had like 50,000 followers. So the person who had hacked it had like, I don't know how it works, but
like bot
yeah,
central.
I think so.
Right.
And then the crazy thing is, when I get my Instagram account back, I get this message from this person going, oh, you probably hate me right now, but like, I hacked your Instagram to help you, and like, if you give me your password again, I'll get you 1 million followers by the end of the year. You know, it's just outrageous.
So it's possibly someone in India who's got a bot farm there,
Yeah,
and
I think so.
they're selling it to you.
So basically, there's like, when I got off that iPhone and upgraded my iPhone, my Instagram was still screwed, so like I couldn't log in with my new password.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't have access to that Instagram, and
That's a shame, isn't
Yeah,
it?
cross that one off.
Yeah, because I was going to say, can you introduce us to the same guy and maybe he can boost our followers? That's not a recommendation you're willing to put your name to.
I'd say just keep doing your thing. You guys are going well.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So you've got 45,000 followers on Instagram, and you're in the Premier Division of Sweden, and then that's when the ACL injury occurs?
Yeah, so went to World Cup qualifying with New Zealand, lost to Costa Rica.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we don't want to talk
skip
about
that.
Yeah.
And then it was one of these double days, and we used to do these 11v11 double days. So you'd play 11v11 in the morning, like 8 rounds of 4 minutes. Every time the ball went out, the coach would just boot it back in, and so you'd just be battling, you know.
Murder ball.
Yeah, murder ball, yeah. Proper tough. And then in the afternoon session, the ball bounces in front of me, I stretch for it, you know, you're tired, you're not moving well.
You're on the edge of the pitch, aren't you? You're on that icy bit, mate.
Middle of summer. I don't know what's going on, yeah. Just went into a tackle wrong and fell over and, did my ACL. Like, actually, when they tested it on the field, it had passed all the ACL tests, so they thought it was, like, something different. And then I went and got a scan, and I remember the doctor calling me. It was a Saturday, and me and Lisa were going to go away for a day. And he just goes, I'm so sorry, like, you've done your ACL. And in your mind, there's like 5 seconds of, I refuse to believe this, and then it hits you, and you think, I've got 6 months left in my contract. Like,
Yeah, you start.
it's a 9-month injury. Yeah. So I don't know, like, and it was hard with Lisa too, because we were like planning to move on from Vanamo anyway. Like, I was having a good season. There were offers coming in for me, we were considering, where are we going to live next? It's the next chapter in our life. And
Is this still in Sweden or is this elsewhere?
oh, there were offers in Sweden and overseas too. Yeah.
So you're thinking broad. You're thinking
Yeah.
the horizon's quite big at this point,
Yeah,
and then all
yeah.
of a sudden it shrinks.
Yeah. So.
Also, the interest just vanishes with the injury.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Look, an ACL isn't a career-ending injury.
Yeah.
I've seen dozens and dozens of footballers recover from an ACL injury. Just because you're going to miss the start of the next season doesn't write you off completely. But is that the mindset?
Well, it's a relatively new occurrence that an ACL doesn't end a footballer's career. The issue, and this is what often happens in the working class parts of football, you've got coaches and sporting directors that grew up and played during the era where it did.
What, so it's an older
So
mindset.
they've
Like,
got-
oh, he's done his knee, he's cooked.
Not to explain it all, but that's often a part of thinking. Their personal experience with this is, don't touch that player, they're done. And if you're looking at someone overseas, the risk in that you can't see them personally, you can't talk to them, they're not front and centre, means that you kind of just move on from them quite quickly.
Oh,
is
wow.
my experience at least. So
And there's also so many other good players, they're getting agents contacting them all the time with players
Yeah,
that
right.
probably in my position as well that are really good, so they're thinking, why would we take someone that is damaged goods when we can have someone who, is at the top of their game?
Well, the other side of it is that you've proven yourself and that once you recover, you'll be as good again.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it doesn't often work like that in football.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so while you're going through this recovery, what's the thought process then? Where are you going to land?
I don't know, and this is where me and Lisa had a lot of conversations, and we were thinking about different avenues, and I was also exploring with my agent what was possible, and I always kind of knew that it would be New Zealand, that no one would take me, but you kind of refuse to believe that in the moment. And then, so me and Lisa came back here for 6 weeks and did a holiday together in December, and then we flew back to Sweden, and it was the start of pre-season in Sweden, and I was trying to get a gig at a club over there, and no one was taken, and then we ended up coming back to New Zealand in March, so right when the start of the National League season starts, and I knew people at Suburbs from my time at New Zealand Football, so signed on with them and tried to get the best coaching contract I could, and bought a
Well, this is the car. This is the car.
Yeah,
isn't it?
here we go.
Okay, what did you buy? What did you buy?
A 2006 Mazda Exhela that had 280,000 Ks on it.
good car.
Yeah, but a lot of
Excel,
Ks.
yeah.
A lot of kilometres, Spoon.
Proven.
Oh, mate, no. This car was a safety hazard, mate. It was not good.
There's always a car when you're on the kind of when you're on the come up or that kind of semi-pro level. There's always a car, the training car, and it always just barely makes it to training. And so it was this rattling. What was the most defining feature of this car?
That when, the hills around Auckland, you know, some of them are quite
We
steep.
are familiar with
Yes.
them,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
I had to put it in like 1 or 2 to get it up it. It'd just be like waking up the whole neighbourhood.
I think we've all been there. We've all had a shit car.
Yeah.
But my first car was a Holden Barina, and it was like a sewing machine on wheels. And it started to leak in an area that nobody could fix.
Yeah.
It was kind of like just south of the windshield. Behind the engine, there was this area that just could not be accessed. And so whenever it rained, it would go in through there. It forced its way into the footwell of the passenger.
No.
And it reeked, man. It stunk so bad. And I had this old bottle of Jazz. You know, Jazz, the...
I think you're going to say Lynx Africa.
No, it's probably one step up from Lynx Africa. I had Jazz and I'd just spray it all over the place, just trying to like dumb down the smell. Couldn't do it. Ended up taking this car. I was like, how do I get rid of this thing? I took it to a wreckers and the guy was like, there's nothing good about this car. There is nothing good about it. And I said, well, how much do you want for it?
He's not even negotiating with you.
Nah,
just telling you factually.
he's like going around, you know, like as you see in the movies, the guy's walking around, he's like kicking tires, and he goes,
It's a sloshing noise coming out the door.
yeah, he goes, headlights are all right, $50. So he gave me $50 for my first car.
Wow.
That was an absolute
Yeah.
heap.
My first car was my nana's, and it was older than me. A 1986 Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, well, mine was an '86 Barina.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good year. Vintage.
great year. Have
But
you still got the Excella?
No, it's long gone.
Is it dead or is it?
Oh, I sold it, yeah.
So someone else is
$50?
driving the thing.
Yeah.
How many Ks was it when you got rid of it?
No, I didn't drive that much in it. I think it was like 285 or something.
So it's closing in on 300.
I tell you, it was a battle to sell that thing on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, because everyone in St. Helens had heard it going up Auckland
bet.
Road, mate. second gear in about 7,000 reps.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I think a lot of people, when they're coming back, ACL injury, doing rehab, in the National League, playing in winter in Auckland, having played at the lofty heights of the Swedish Premier League, you often see players coming back and there's a resentfulness that builds in them. There's a frustration. You seem to have used that time to reset and pivot. That then comes back to mindset, work rate, curiosity. So what have you used that time for?
Yeah, great question.
It's number 3.
Two. I'm back to two.
No, I think it was 3.
Oh, no, but you remember I had to give one back because I got the housing
you were
law.
penalised.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So it's 2-0 still.
Two-
I'm
2-0.
yet to get off the mark.
What is the record for the?
I think
2-0.
that's, yeah, that's
no,
probably-
sorry. Like how many have you got in one episode?
Actually, to be fair, it happens in episodes. We usually he asks good questions or the ones that resonate with the guest, and then in another episode I'll ask for some
yeah,
reason.
so clearly I'm having a bad day.
Yeah, it's a real Dean Barker mentality where it's either 8-0 or 9-0. You know, like you're either up or you're down.
Yeah. Well, to come back to your question, that's where I found something more than just myself in football, where I started coaching first for Suburbs and then for my own head start. And that's where I found the joy, the real meaning in football of seeing the positive influence you could have on young people, not just on the field, but like helping them with things outside the field, like navigating school and relationships and all these things that are super important at that age, through the mental skills that I had studied and that I had used in my whole professional career, and to pass that on to someone else was amazing. So I think there was a real joy in that for me, and that helped me on the field as well.
Yeah, well, okay, so when's the first moment that happens? Because you start coaching and you, like everybody, you're probably like relying on sessions that you've done or the textbook that, you know, it's been handed around. So you're just trying to get through it really more than anything. But you must remember one of the first moments where you're like, oh, fuck, like that was cool.
Yeah.
That made me feel good because I saw the development, I saw the appreciation, or I saw football come alive in someone else.
No, it was. It was when I was coaching under 12s on the weekend for Suburbs, and I remember after a game, you know, I think we got smashed, but it doesn't matter. Like parents coming up to you saying, like, thanks for taking the time to speak with my kid about this. You know, you're really helping my kid with this, that kind of stuff, and then that appreciation and the realization that all the things that I had practiced on, all the things that I worked hard on weren't just for me, you know, they're for other people too. And that's what made it special.
So at this point, are you starting to say to yourself, I'm Francis de Vries, the coach now. That's starting to come to the fore, and maybe the playing side of things is taking a backward seat? Is that how you're feeling?
Not really.
No, you're still like, you've got the personal drive that you still want to become the footballer first and foremost?
To be fair,
yeah.
when's the announcement about the club?
What?
Not your signing, but when is Auckland? I think the second point of that is, when's the announcement about the Auckland expansion? Because it must be about the same time.
Yeah, I've been playing for Suburbs for almost a year. Yeah. So I think they complement one another. Like, the coaching was really helping my playing. Like, it was giving me more motivation. We talk about drive and work ethic and willingness to be, you know, a good teammate and try and be a good role model and example to others. And this is something I think about a lot, and luckily I'm reminded of a lot, because doing the coaching keeps you in that mindset the whole time of, you know, like, what would I want my younger players to see? What would I want them to do, you know? And that's, I guess, how I try and conduct myself when I play as well.
It's something that's really interesting, G. You'd think that, and this is the assumption that a lot of people make, parents in particular, that you need to be highly specialised, you need to be uber focused on football to be good at football. In fact, the research says the exact opposite. You don't want to spread yourself too thin, but you need to have something else to balance alongside football. You need to have something that occupies your time in parallel to your football career. But this one in particular is helpful because it's giving you the perspective of the coach whilst you're also the player.
Yeah. And also, football has to mean something more than just
Results.
playing professionally and results. That's where real fulfillment comes from, real connection. And it's really important that young people realize this, you know, because when I was a kid, of course you get fed the mantra of, you need to be a pro, you need to be the best, you know, this and that. And then for 100% there is a side to that, because football is a winning industry. Like, that is what it runs on at the end of the day. But as an individual, you need more than that. And you need to be able to connect with people around you. You need to be able to have these new experiences. And you need to find satisfaction in what you're doing yourself, you know, regardless of the outcomes, what might result of that.
So you've got the T-shirt on.
Yeah.
Give us a spiel. What is Head Start coaching?
Head Start is exactly that. It's a way for young football players to be introduced to mental skills and mindset training. It's a way for them to build themselves up for their own journey, whatever that might mean for them. If it's playing for a Northern League team, if it's going to the US college system, if it's playing professional, if it's playing at the park with their mates, but continuing to love the game until they're, you know, 50, 60 and playing masters. The whole goal of Head Start is...
You can look at Goran when you say that, by the way.
Oh, that
one
old.
eye each. No, I mean, Head Start is just a alternative option, you know. It's for people who believe that there's more to football than just football. That football is a teacher of skills that will help you in all different areas of your life.
I think it's fantastic. There's a more holistic view in taking your experiences, which have been galvanized through those moments where you've had to be resilient. But I will ask for your resilience one more time here. You've only given me one highlight from the season, and I've asked for at least three. So give me the other two.
Yeah, okay. I'll try and give you ones that people don't see.
Yes.
You know, because people have
loves an
obviously
exclusive.
seen the... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then we put it up on our Instagram, and hopefully 45,000 people will get in behind her.
Bob farming.
yeah. So come on, mate. Give us the exclusive that'll help with all the bots.
And think about what the bot wants to see here.
No, I'd say the first one might be a little bit boring, but like a lot of my favourite moments this season have come like around the lunch table at Auckland FC. They do a really great job of providing us with like top quality food afterwards, and everyone sits together and, you know, having a laugh with, I think my table was myself, Joe Knowles, Alex Paulson, Marley, Dan, Hiroki and Louis Vistade. So it was quite fun, you know, like those moments of banter and AP and Dan Hall, you know, making fun of everybody, and, you know, Hiroki just being there all happy and Louis asking interesting questions, you know, like...
It's quite a cosmopolitan table.
Yeah, people from all over the place.
Yeah. We probably have the most diverse table, which is fun. But yeah, that, like, mate, those days and moments are really special, you know. To really get to know other people at that level was a massive highlight this season. And then I think a more personal one for me would be just the general appreciation that's been shown by people, not just for the performances, but for like kind of the community outlook that has come through the club. So being able to go and visit local clubs, being able to do promos where anyone can come and meet you. You know, professional football has become accessible in Auckland, and that would be a real highlight, you know, to see how happy people get from that and how excited, you know, some people are to be involved in that. Is really cool.
I'll give you a moment of pure excitement, exhilaration. I was in here for the first leg, semi-final against Melbourne Victory. And I was in charge of the Betcha-hosted pot. We've spoken about this previously. And I put a lot of money on you to provide the assist for a goal. And as soon as you put it on the head of Logan Rogerson, you should have seen this place erupt, mate. And it was like that, not only in here, but out there in the square as well, with the big screen up above Tiffany. Mate, put us in your shoes, because you've done that time and again. What is it like when, for you personally, you create a moment like that for so many?
Yeah. When you're...
Is that a good question? Like, did I finally get on the board?
Can I give you a great question?
Thanks, mate. Thank you, Francis. Cheers, bud. Yes, he's on the board. I forced that one. Forced his hand.
That was charity.
Yeah,
that was absolute charity.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. I feel like I'm on the side of the street with my cap
back in the
cap
pot.
in hand.
Mate, by the way, he was stressed.
Yeah, I remember Lisa sending me the video after the game. She was out there in the square. Man, that was amazing to see the outpouring of joy. And I think in the moment when you do it, like, when I play football, I try not to go too emotional during the game, because for clarity of thought, and to be honest, a lot of the time you're just puffing, you know, like you're just tired. When I was just happy Logan came to celebrate in the corner that I crossed from, because otherwise I'd have to run an extra 50 metres. Yeah.
The amount of times people have said that, because if they run in the opposite direction, you're like, got to make it up.
But he had to run that way because the travelling port supporters were in that corner, right?
Actually,
so it would have been nonsensical to run in a different direction.
Follow-up question on detail. You've crossed it just in front of the travelling port. So you've got first-hand their reaction. Like, it's a full Victory stadium playing away. I don't think people will appreciate this often, particularly in the A-League. But hearing that noise from a particular pocket that's there alongside you, that's there to fill your sails, that must have been pretty cool.
When we talk about special moments, I have one more for you, actually. It was Sydney FC away when we'd come back to 2-2, and I got subbed, I think, in extra time. And I walked around the back of the stadium, and there was that whole travelling port section, and I gave them a clap, and they were all standing up, and you're thinking, how surreal is this? You know, you're in a different country, and you've got 1,000 people cheering you on, and proper loud too. That was cool.
And it must be kind of strange, because you're a Cantab. And Canterbury hates Auckland, and then here you are performing for an Auckland team.
Yeah,
that must make you sick inside.
Yeah, you tick 2 boxes, right? Like angry ginger, and then Cantabrian, and the All Whites as well.
He's not ginger. I said strawberry blonde, you bastard. Come on, you're trying to offend our guest?
Yes. You see what kind of reaction I get out of him.
I wish I would have had that in high school, you know, when they had those like hugger ginger days where they'd run around and chase ginger, just dogpile them. With like 20 year 13s lying on you, you'd be on the bottom like, I'm not actually ginger.
You need a note written by your mum or something. Like, please excuse Francis from these activities because he's actually strawberry blonde.
Yes. And he needs to stay inside.
Yeah. He's not going out for lunch today.
If it's snowing, he also has to come home. But a Cantabrian doing well in black and white for Auckland.
Or blue and black.
What did I say? Black
and white.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I mean, you've been to the games, right?
Yes.
You've seen them.
Fair.
Seen what they're playing.
Yeah.
I'm not handing back a point, but
I think I've been, obviously when you're younger, you get indoctrinated with some of it, you know, those Aucklanders up there, you know, kind of, it's all bullshit, isn't it? We all live in the same country. Like, we're all trying to do the same thing and provide a good experience for New Zealand and young football players. So for me, like, yeah, of course, there's the jokes about it, and some of my mates back home don't let me forget it, but there is no football team down there.
That's right.
Know? Like, get an A-League team in Canterbury and we can talk about it.
By the way, they've got a stadium coming, though.
Yep.
Looks good.
Yeah,
could put a football team in there.
Rectangular, close.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Could take some time, though, to get an A-League team up and running. Look, you mentioned earlier, you were at one point playing central defence in Europe. You are a big man. Like, when you walked in through the door, you dwarf both myself and Jacob Spoonley, yet you occupy a position on a flank, which is usually reserved for a diminutive type player. How did a big unit like yourself wind up out wide?
That's a joy of football, isn't it? That there's no prescription. Of
I thought you were going to get a good
behaviour.
question there.
Yeah.
Nah.
No, it was coming. It was
Nah.
on the lips.
Yeah.
I think he's he's already handed one out for me, and I'm not going to get another.
Sorry, Frankie.
Nah, there's no prescription in football, right? Like anyone can play anywhere. Not like basketball or some other sports where you have to be a certain physicality to be somewhere. And I think you need to find what suits you and your strengths. And for me, that was running a lot and crossing the ball well and being disciplined defensively. And credit to my coach in Sweden who saw that, moved me from centre back to left back, and probably a lot of encouragement at the start to get me to go past halfway, but as soon as I figured that out, then it was good.
That was always something that was coached into me as a real little one. Yeah, if you played in the back line, you weren't allowed to go past the halfway line, and we all took it literally. Yeah. So I remember playing against Eastern Suburbs as a kid for Pakuranga Town, and the ball was right there, just on the other side of halfway, and I'm like, well, I can't get it.
It's lava.
Yeah, that side of the field is lava. I cannot go in there. And so, some Eastern Suburbs player came from miles away to get the ball and then just booted it past me because I'm right up on the halfway line, and they went on and scored. And so it wasn't until that point where they're like, look, it's not literal. You can actually go inside the opposition half.
Needed a good coach, Frankie.
Yeah.
True.
So
there's still space for you, mate. There's still hope.
Yeah, I don't think so, mate. At 44 years of age, I'm done.
All right.
Dan Hall, hand up, said he was the worst of pre-season. Showed up, having enjoyed off-season. Fair enough. He's a back-to-back league and premiers winner. But he said you didn't really give yourself much room between where you came in and your ceiling.
No wiggle room.
Yeah, you were just... I think this is where you got the name Terminator from, mate, because you destroyed the fitness testing. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you've really emphasised, not only off the back of your ACL injury, but with that transition to left back because of the demands of the position now?
Correct.
And you've got Libby Kakache.
Yeah.
You challenge you for the All Whites.
Yeah, you're right. I think Dan has done himself a little hard there in terms of being
I've
the
had it from a
worst,
couple of people that Dan was the worst, though.
He's just being honest.
He's also the best
being
at some
honest.
other things, such as being an all-round good human being. Yeah. And like jumping and he's just a different kind of athlete, right? He's fast, he's powerful. Guys like that don't tend to have massive aerobic bases where I'm
also,
kind of on the
his
other
reading
side
of the
that.
game's decent, huh? Like he knows, he seeks out danger really well.
Very good, yeah. And very good actually at tricks and step overs and stuff that we don't see much in training, or you guys don't see that, but in training, 1v1s, you don't want to be defending Dan Hall.
Right.
So he's got something in his locker.
Small-sided games,
Does
he
he?
goes for a wander.
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
He uses stuff at training that we don't see on game day.
Well, yeah, I think he used to be a winger, so he's got skills, man.
That's a
Serious
conversion.
skills, yeah.
That's a conversion.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, so your big engine comes from the JD, the job description of being a fullback in the modern game.
yeah, and I think just consistency over time, being willing to work it yourself, being understanding of the kind of things that you need to improve on and that will help you. Like one thing this year in the A-League was like getting more explosive, getting stronger in 1v1s, things like that I didn't need as much in Sweden. But then obviously to be able to bring that aerobic base and ability to go again and again and again and to create opportunities through hard work and running was something that, I mean, it's obviously not comfortable to do, but it feels really satisfying. So it's nice to be able to bring that.
I want to know, because you obviously came through the divisions in Sweden, at what stage is shirt swapping okay? Because I'm assuming you weren't able to shoot.
Yeah.
I got one. I got a good question.
Damn
Damn
it!
it!
Good question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
I like that. I like this. I like what we're going down.
because when you're in the third division,
3-2,
I'm
just
sure
for keeping record.
there's not enough finances within the club to go, oh, every weekend I'm giving my shirt to the opposition team member. But if you're in the top league, hey, go for gold. Like, I'll have that one. I'll have that one. Spoon was saying that
This
you've
is
got
a good question. Yeah,
You've got Zinchenko's shirt from your recent foray over to
Yeah,
Canada.
that was cool.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, at what point are you allowed to shirt swap? Because I never got the opportunity.
Have you seen the shirts at Vanamo out of curiosity?
No, but I know.
No.
Okay, so the Swedish shirts though are plastered
Yeah.
in advertising, right?
I think I counted. We had like 28 sponsors on our shirt.
So it's like a Tour de France shirt.
yes, correct.
I saw a really cool ad the other day. It was for it was Spanish testicular cancer, but they bought the strip just on the basically
On the
front,
crotch.
on the crotch, which is great because no one buys there. But 28 sponsors, real estate's pretty squeezed there.
there's
So
no space, yeah.
where's the weirdest sponsor that you had?
Hey, hang on, mate. Well, I just got a good question. Shut your mouth. Let Francis answer the good question. This is what you always do, and we're going to work on it in season 2, where you hijack my good questions.
Yeah, because
Stop it. First of all, let's find out, when is he allowed to shirt swap?
still 3-2.
Yeah. The answer is never.
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 We had to give our shirts back at Vanamo.
Even though you're in the top flight.
Until
At the end of the
last-
season.
I got one. So I have one Vanamo shirt at home from... I think they gave it to me. I can't remember.
You stole it.
I might have stolen it, yeah.
I like, just a sneaky into the
Yeah.
bag at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
no, done that.
Everyone's done that, I think. Everyone who knows
Yeah,
knows, yeah. But I
And then
never...
you play dumb. Where's the shirt? I don't know, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Washing people, you know? No.
It's at the laundromat.
Yeah, chucking them under the bus. Sorry, guys.
Because like you've shirt swapped. Some of these shirts
Yeah,
are from
yeah.
when you played, right? Well, I never had the opportunity because I didn't
No.
play it at that high of a
No,
level.
it's a good point though, but you get told beforehand usually.
That you can.
Yes.
Right.
So
okay.
that's the kind of like the rules of it. But then there are people that just go off and
When I played at Papatoetoe, there was a guy, and he's done the rounds, Ricky Espinosa.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Ricky?
No.
So I think he did a jersey swap, and everyone was like, why did you
In
do
Div
that?
1.
Yeah, like, lower. And then I think he had to fork out money for a new shirt so that the club could buy a replacement.
yeah, that's the punishment typically, right? You pay for the cost of getting a new shirt. Yeah. So what's in the collection?
This year, got a couple of good additions. Got Zinchenko, got Joe Lolly's shirt from Sydney FC.
Nice.
Good guy. And got Marcus Antonson's shirt from Western Sydney because we played together in Sweden. Which
that
is cool.
right?
In the same team or
Yeah.
against each other?
Nah, in Vanamo, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool. So, and then obviously a lot of the boys from Auckland FC, I've got their shirts now, so trying to get as many as possible before I finish up. Yeah.
No new Kelly shirt in there though?
Nah, I didn't. I can't give away that NZ shirt that we qualified
No,
with.
it's
I
fair.
have to keep
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
So status-wise, you can say I don't really want to swap, but I reckon the new Kelly kit is one of the best going.
It's cool, yeah.
Little grey and red number.
yeah.
I've forgotten where I was going now.
What a shame.
I had it. Damn it.
I mean, we could just do the starting 11 because look at the time. Starting 11. No, you don't have the fader up.
Oh. Which one is it?
It's the far one. Yeah, okay, so
And
There we
here's
go,
your
starting
starting 11.
Right. What's the worst ground you've had to travel to?
I think Yammerbugt FC in Denmark, the place where I went on trial, that was a proper park pitch, you know, like just local field,
No stand?
one stand on one side. Pretty rickety as well. No health and safety there.
Needed a tetanus shot though, huh?
yeah.
Pre-match meal.
Eggs on toast usually, try and keep it pretty simple. There's a running joke going on at the moment that I had to do a breakfast video for Auckland FC on away trips, and I made the mistake of saying, I put some smoked salmon on my plate and said, we don't have this at home. So now I've just been getting it from
So everyone's
everybody.
buying you for the smoked salmon.
No, just like Lisa saying to me, oh yeah, we're not good enough to have that at home, that kind of stuff. So yeah, just eggs on toast, no smoked salmon.
Yeah, but what are you doing with your eggs? Are they fried, scrambled, poached?
Scrambled usually.
Scrambled,
yeah,
nice.
easy.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Sea Lord. Sponsorship opportunity. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so we've got Sea Lord and Sunscreen.
Yes.
Or the Matakana Smokehouse, mate. They do a good smoked salmon as well.
I like this portfolio, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's strong, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Combine the two. All white's roommate.
Oh, I hate to say it, this is a good question.
Oh,
Because,
4-2.
yeah,
4-2.
because I am the one that always gets a new roommate with your whites.
Oh, you're a slut.
You're on
Yes.
I mean, my roommate slut, not a slut.
You're on rotation.
Yeah. Just came out.
Yeah. Well, for all Auckland FC, I'm usually always with Nando, so
Okay, so
that's
you're
good.
rock
We
solid
go way
there.
Two
back,
Dutchies?
Yeah. So always roommate. This last trip I had Callan Elliott, The trip before I had Jesse Randall, and the trip before that I had Liam Gillian. And back in the day, I used to room with Nico Kerwin, so that was the original pairing. We were together every trip, which was awesome.
By the way, he's doing well at the moment.
Yeah, he's smashing
Serie
it.
B?
Yeah.
Golf handicap.
Don't play golf. Not interested, sorry.
So the place you've been to while you've been playing that you want to go back to fully enjoy it at the end of your career?
Oh, I like this. Vancouver.
Almost. That was almost.
Yeah.
That was almost a good question.
Yeah, but these are regular questions that you always ask in the starting 11. I think these are exempt from the good question response.
No,
okay.
we'll chat about this later on. We have to
Oh,
give a
well,
criteria.
yeah.
One of us is the lawyer here. I'll write the rules.
Mate. I'll see you in my office. It's just behind the bar.
Sorry, what was the answer?
Vancouver. Yeah.
So Chrissy and I did San Fran, and we drove all the way up to Vancouver for our honeymoon. Vancouver is amazing.
Yeah.
Why Vancouver?
Because I was 22 and broke when I lived there. So
Oh, it's not a good
didn't
place
really
to be
do
broke.
that much, yeah. But yeah, beautiful.
I've just started a voice note to myself, so we'll stop that.
What, to meet me in my office later? So we can have that conversation.
Tell them what you really think about them this time. First club.
Cashmere Wanderers before they became Cashmere
Tech.
Technical. Yeah.
Really?
So maroon and yellow.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a combination.
Yeah. Rogue, yeah.
And translucent Canterbury. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good combo.
Beautiful.
Favorite non-footballing athlete?
Roger Federer. Easy.
Yes. Boom.
Yeah? You as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah, I love tennis.
Yeah.
I played tennis when I was younger. And just the elegance of the one-handed backhand.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it wasn't popular at that point, eh? He kind of like reintroduced it.
Well, no, he stayed true to the art, whereas everyone else was going two-hand backhands and just bludgeoning it. Yeah, kept it.
Finesse.
Just a thing of beauty, eh?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
The movie you want to go back and watch for the first time?
Oh, Shrek. It's my favourite movie.
Yes!
Yeah.
Love
It's got everything. Great soundtrack.
Yes.
Great characters, good humour, animation.
Are you doing a Shrek movie marathon?
I'm
like you're
all in
watching
on this.
all of them?
Oh, they kind of decline after the second one, eh? So,
Also,
yeah.
in fairness, the one critique I do have about the original is the animation. It doesn't really stand up now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's like when you watch like old Star Wars and stuff, you know, you can see it's all fake, but there's like nostalgia and
that's
charm
true.
to it. Yeah.
The team you supported growing up?
AS Roma in Italy. Yeah. Francesco Totti. Had the same name
there
as
you
me,
go.
so I thought he was cool. Yeah.
Worst injury?
ACL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
easy one.
sucks.
Yeah.
Rehab? What's the defining thing around why it sucks?
Just 9 months of constant discipline in the rehab. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's just tough when you're like used to running and sprinting, and then you just know it's 3 months until you'll do that again, and even simple chores around the house become difficult. Life just slows down a lot, so it's a long way back.
Hard to keep your eating under control? Because like I eat a lot.
Yeah.
And I try and do a little bit of exercise. When I'm not doing exercise, I blow out.
Yeah.
You look like a specimen, but when you're forced to rest and rehabilitate for that period of time, did you see yourself putting on a little bit of weight, or did you have to be really meticulous with your intake?
I think this is where the curiosity comes in again. You know, like when I got injured, I was always curious about nutrition and recovery things, and then I got really into
Smoked salmon. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Scrambled
good.
eggs.
Everything. Yeah. So when I was like in this phase, I was looking at all the things I could do to recover quicker and learning a lot about what kind of nutritional practices would help me.
So you're not hoovering lollies or anything like that?
It was
that's-
kind of
that's
easy
me.
because I had a good reason to stick to it.
Yeah.
And it was like I just framed it up as a challenge for myself, and it went really well. Like I enjoyed the process of slowing down a little bit and really being mindful about what I was eating and why, and it obviously helps like in your general life as well.
I need your help
Okay.
badly.
We'll try and do it without blowing out your ACL.
Yeah.
No, let's definitely do that. I'll take care of that part. Last question.
Okay.
What is in the coffee cup? What's your coffee order?
Americano, and this one is a special one with a bit of cream in it. You know who taught me that? Ivan Vasilic.
Oh, the Godfather.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's a favourite now, thanks to him. Yeah.
When the Godfather speaks, you listen.
Absolutely.
Correct. He is wise. Yeah.
Yeah. Sage.
Wise man.
Yeah.
And here's your starting 11.
All right, that's the starting 11 done.
What happens from this point on? The season is over. We've had our last all-whites activity until the next window, which is what, September?
Yes. Early September.
Yeah. So what do you do between now and the start of the next A-League season and the All Whites coming together?
I'll give you one more. Great question.
No.
I think
It's
that
4-3, but
no,
then
4-3.
it's 4-3. I got one
thought
more
we
great
were
question.
3-3.
No, you try to cancel
You'll
one.
have
though.
to check when you're editing.
Yeah.
You're going to edit out all of his questions.
I'm in control. Remember that.
Pre-season starts on July the 4th, so about 3 weeks now.
Independence Day.
Yeah, that's when the
Yeah.
fireworks start. Yeah.
Yeah, show up with the American face paint on.
So
Anyway,
between now and then,
mate, like Lisa's going back to Sweden pretty soon, so we'll spend a few good days together with her. When we have time off, we like to get away and go out into the nature. We have a dog at home too, Max. He's a year and a bit old, a little cavoodle, so
nice.
hang out with him and then run head start on the side and just enjoy stepping back a little bit, reading and being on my own schedule.
And you're launching into a very important year. I mean, all years are important, but you got this huge carrot dangling in front of your face. At the end of the A-League season, you're off to a World Cup. Like, that's just got to be tantalising for you, eh?
Yeah, one step at a time, I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of international windows between now and then and a lot of good players that are competing for selection. So we'll just go into the season, try and be humble and work hard and see what comes out of it.
Take a good question off him there, mate, because he's disregarded the entirety of the interview and he's just jumped in and asked the question.